why don't we just go ahead and kind of just do a brief introduction of name and organization. I think most of us know each other, but it'd be good just to have a sense of who's here. And then the purpose today is just to introduce the College and Career Readiness ANT to some new folks. And so I'm thrilled that some of our current ANT members are here. We're just going to kind of give an overview and then answer questions. And our end goal is to try to encourage more folks to join us in the work of this ANT. So full transparency, that's what we're about today. So, okay, grand. And if you put it in gallery mode, you can see everybody. If you prefer to just see the speaker, you guys know how to toggle speaker view, but we're excited to have you here. And so this is a casual sort of introduction to the College and Career Readiness ANT, and we're excited to be here as part of the tour to Shared Vision Convening. My name is Kim McNulty. I'm Vice President of Regional Strategy for One Future Coachella Valley. And as several of you know, myself and Sheila Thornton help provide support to the ANTs for GIA. So happy to be here today to help lead this conversation and overview. And so with that, I'm going to toss it over to Sheila to introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm seeing some repeats from this morning as well. Once again, hope everybody's having a great time. I'm Sheila Thornton. I'm the CEO of One Future Coachella Valley. And in this capacity, we're here sort of as coaches on the ANTS development. Great to see everybody.
Fantastic. How about Lori and then Jake?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Slokoff. I'm the grant writer with GIA, and I'm excited about the College and Career ANT because they come up with the things that I can go find money for.
You're an important person to have.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jake Poor. I am the Director of Communication at GIA. Happy to be here and to connect and learn more about what's happening in this ANT.
Thank you. How about Sarah and then Randy?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Sarah Clark. I'm the new Workforce Development Coordinator with Inland Empire Economic Partnership, about 2 months into the role. So excited to work with you all and learn more.
Welcome.
And I'm Randy Olson. I work for the San Bernardino City Unified School District in the Family Engagement Office.
Good to see you. How about Gil and then Marcelino?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Gil Compton. I work at the Riverside County Office of Education and the College and Career Readiness Unit.
My name is Marcelino. I'm a small business owner for math tutoring, basically coaching math.
Welcome. Great to have you here. How about Alejandra and then Virginia?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Alejandra. I am the new coordinator for research and evaluation at GIA, and I am just officially over a week into my position. So I'm excited to be here and learning from all of you and see how I can support all of your data and research needs.
Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Virginia Moran, Executive Dean, Institutional Effectiveness and Research at VVC. I'm just glad to be able to join you this afternoon. We had a mandatory thing this morning, so I missed out on some great sessions, but I'm glad to be here now.
Great to have you with us. How about Tim Bias and then Trinette?
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Tim Bias. I'm the Director of College and Career Success Programs at the San Bernardino County Superintendent of Schools.
Welcome.
And hello, everyone. My name is Rene Berry. I'm Career Center Coordinator and Counselor at Crafton Hills Community College, and I sit on the Career Readiness team.
Fantastic. Did I miss anybody? I got them all. Okay. Well, thank you for being here today. And we've got about 25 minutes or so just to kind of do an overview of what this College and Career Readiness Action Network team is all about. And I know several of you have been active on this team, and we've got some brand new folks. So for those of you that have been doing the work, please feel free to chime in, and then we'll have a Q&A opportunity, and it's really casual. So if we're sharing and you have a question, please feel free to stop us. I did want to share an exciting thing that happened over the summer, I think thanks to Jake and the team at GIA. In the chat, you're going to see a link to the updated pages on the GIA's website, which have links now, and I'll share a screen so you can see it, which have links to information about all the Action Network teams. Our tactical plans are all printed there, and also the summaries. They've Jake is, I think, Jake, did you do that for us?
It was a full GIA team effort to support that, but yeah, I published it on the website.
Fantastic. And so this document here is the summary overview of the College and Career Readiness and you can download it. And we also have it popped in the chat. So please feel free to take a look at that as we go through. But I thought I'd just open up, and we created some, just a kind of a short slides to do an overview for everybody about what the, this is all about. And then we'll answer questions. Does that sound like a plan? Okay, so College and Career Action Network team is all about supporting K12 institutions to better prepare students for post-secondary education and/or a pathway to a productive career. And there was some data that this team looked at as they considered how they wanted to develop their action plan of work. And part of this, again, some of this comes from the graphics that you see in that PDF document. But one of the things we looked at was A through G completion across the Inland Empire. And you can see that it's trending up, but there's still work to do there. So that was part of what informed the work of this team. And the other indicator was looking at college and career indicators for the Inland Empire. And the goal is to get all students up to prepared. And so this kind of gives you just historical trends on where we started in 2017 and progress forward. But these are some of the data measures that will inform the work of this alignment team as they look to where, or this action network team as they move forward. The team's vision is very, very simple: make colleges student ready. And our team vision is to build professional capacity, engage student voice, enhance institutional intelligence, increase advising and advocacy, design dynamic roadmaps, and link college to career networks. Not a lot to do at all there, but that's what this team is really all about. And in order to do this work, we create a tactical plan. And this is what it looks like in its tactical plan format. It's an opportunity to look at some of GIA's long-term goals and pick one that we think most directly aligns to our work, and then identify a tactic and build out long-term, midterm, and short-term outcomes that we'll be doing to advance our work. So this is what it looks like in that form. And the document that Jake created that you have the link to is really sort of a narrative summary of what you see in this outline plan. But in basic forms, this team has identified two tactics. One, the first one is about K12 preparation. And after this team had sort of developed that first tactic, GIA put forth their GIA Innovation Awards invitation, and Riverside County Office of Ed was awarded funding to help advance this with their program that's called Magnify the Middle. So it's a focus on success at the middle school level in preparation for high school. And some of the long-term metrics that are associated with this tactic for this particular action network team is a 15% increase in the number of students who complete baccalaureate and associate degrees, certificates, and credentials. And again, that's long-term. We're working with middle school, but we're hoping that, 10 years from now, this is what we see. And also to see a 20% increase overall in college preparedness. The second tactic that this team came up with is early college preparation and mindset, with a target population of the districts with the lowest A through G completion rate currently. And it's about education as a means for economic mobility. And this is the tactic, for those of you that are here today can kind of share a little bit, that the team was focused on as we sort of wrapped up at the end of last year in the summer before we took a break. So we'll pick up there as we begin in October. But this one is really focused on, by the end of 8th grade, making sure that students and families have a clear understanding of the amount and the kind and the level of work that are needed for them to reach their college and career and post-secondary goals, to help students and families recognize that it's not okay to fail. If you do that, that's going to put you behind further. So to create an awareness about that so that you can change actions and intention, and that students have a clear understanding of the college pathways before beginning the end of high school. so they have an idea of what they want to do, and so that their learning and their experiences are directed that way. And so I'm going to stop sharing there because I talked a whole lot, and it's probably like a fire hose for those of you who are brand new to this, but really just wanted to give you an understanding of what this group is all about. So what are your thoughts for the group that's been working on this for a while? Any thoughts on how it's been characterized in the GIA summary document, or things that stand out for you as real opportunities as we start to convene again in October? It's a lot. This team is a very thoughtful group when we've been doing the work, so there's a lot in there, but some really good, I think, strategic and deep work that we have underway. For the folks that are brand new to this, does this sound intriguing to you, or relate to the work that you're currently doing? Could you see becoming active with this group to solve any pieces of these problems?
I have a question.
Great.
I'm not exactly new. I've been, working in K16 partnerships since Dr. Herb Fisher. So I've been around for a really long time. But I am curious about if there's an ant to address the teacher training, being a little bit more proactive about what we need to do to sort of reframe how we train our future teachers. As a community college person, I know we're very excited about our CCAP agreements and having those dual enrollment courses in the high schools finally. And like I said, being in this region for 25 years, it's been great that we have created those opportunities. But I will be honest with you, our faculty don't want to teach those courses. And I've taught those courses, and those kids are fantastic. So I don't really quite understand. I'm just going to write it off as being sort of a cultural thing with some of our seasoned teachers, we'll call them. So what are we doing for teacher ed? What are we doing for teachers who want to teach college to sort of get them to get over the stigma of teaching our dual enrollment courses? That's what we're struggling with right now.
So we've had some of those conversations. I don't know, Gil, if you want to weigh in, or Tim, but I know we've had deep conversations around the assessment and grading piece of it, and some professional development around that. I think we've also touched on the things that you've talked about in the deeper conversations.
Virginia, can I just ask for clarification on the question? You're very specifically talking about college faculty not wanting to teach dual enrollment. And just for the sake of the group, just specifically because they don't want to be working with the younger population? Are there other reasons behind it? You know them. What
yes,
is that?
I think for our seasoned faculty, so these are teachers who've been teaching college they're getting close to retirement. And right now, honestly, our strategy is we wait it out. And our new teachers who are coming in are much more open to they love teaching. So it's less of a problem for them. But so it's that set of questions about sort of enculturating our master's level faculty. And then what are we doing for teacher ed period for our secondary and elementary school folks? So there's two teacher ed tracks, one that's right.
Okay.
Any of our seasoned team members want to weigh in on that?
I appreciate Sheila's, clarification there, because you are talking about two different phenomena. One is at the higher, ed levels, post-secondary in regards to that, and that's a different culture climate, if you will, than the K12 and the dual enrollment that's taking place at the high school level in the high schools themselves. And so that's herein lies the work, in regards to that. And so districts and the county, as well as the state, are trying to create incentives, if you will, in regards to recruiting, teachers with masters, starting to message them in regards to, it's not the master's in curriculum and instruction or the master's in technology that's going to get you into the dual enrollment environment. It's going to be a master's within your subject area. And so hiring practices, recruiting strategies, schools of ed, it's all, we're all intertwined. in this mission and in this project, if you will. There's not right now equal distribution of masters, teachers with masters, in the K12 system. And you'll see that then manifest itself in students having greater access at certain campuses for dual enrollment courses than at other campuses. And so that herein lies the measurement, herein lies the challenge, and I think that's what we're really working on. To Kim's point in regards to, what are we doing in regards to teacher education with respect to it? Specifically, we were, the Magnify the Middle project is really embedded in a measuring student learning, structure idea, and that, do our grades represent learning? Are they equitably distributed? Are we giving kids access to and success in courses of rigor at the middle school, preparing them for, high school, and then high school preparing them for college? So yeah, we're looking at it from a very systemic approach. It's quite complex, but we use a lot of different, theoretical models and structures to try to get to it. It's never done, but we're trying to, as Carlos shared this morning, there are some latent indicators that are starting to come along that we have been hanging our hat on, if you will. We've been wanting to see them, and they're starting to move. Correlational or causal, we're still working on that. I'd love to see Alejandra join the team in regards to that to help us with some of that evaluative, research aspect of it. So this is a work in progress.
I will say some of the best recruiting we've done are in the high schools. The teachers are already teaching the high school kids that have subject matter master's degrees. So it's good that you are encouraging them to be very specific, having an English master's or a biology master's, because our hands are tied in terms of who is eligible to teach some of those subjects. But we used to also have, I thought, opportunities for teacher training programs to have cell groups, in the region. This was, again, maybe 15 years ago, when we were starting to do some of this partnership work, where teachers could be encouraged to work on their subject matter masters as a group, as a cohort up here. I don't know if it was Chapman doing it, but do we have any of those opportunities anymore? Do you know?
Specifically, I think for the county offices, we've been focusing or concentrating our efforts in regards to induction. The BITSA program has evolved into CTI, and so we're working on clearing credentials and those types of things in regards to that. And we have, over 2,500 teachers from across the state participating in that, with, just about half as many master teachers. And so our point is getting people into, multiple subject, single subject credentials with respect to that. We do see districts starting to incentivize, especially in the area of CTE. Maybe you're a teacher and with a certain specific credential, but we need you to have a industry specific credential. And so we see districts starting to incentivize that with helping pay for those costs, encouraging, designing master schedules that are going to be able to expand into that area with the career technical education classes. But no one's really incentivized yet going after the masters in a subject area to do specific dual enrollment. One of the obstacles for us in the dual enrollment environment, and this is very pointed, so forgive me, is at the community college level, where a school, and I've experienced this, personally as a high school principal, I might have a teacher with a master's in a certain subject area. They're already teaching as an adjunct faculty member at the local community college. I ask them to teach the same course during the school day, and they can't, because they're limited to 2 courses by the academic senate and the contract at the community college level. And if they take on 2 classes, within the school day, they would then forfeit their additional pay and, and income, if you will, in regards to being an adjunct professor. These are people that have kids in colleges and mortgages and things like that. And so it's very unfair for me to ask them to give up their, I hate to say it, their night job to be able then to expand my dual enrollment. That's a hurdle that, eventually we hopefully will get over. But I know there's a lot of obstacles in regards to that, and possibly even considered opposition to that from the faculty at the higher ed.
I would just add something to this. This is really insightful stuff. So GIA staff, whoever's taking notes on this one, it relates to the dual enrollment conversation that happened earlier today. It's also related to this CCNR, and it's specifically what we talk about in these alignment teams. They may not be directly in this tactical plan, but they're they intersect with it. So I don't want to lose this. And I think let's make sure that this transfers to the systems level stuff that could be done. One is, Gil, what you were just talking about. And what are the ways that the GIA as a whole can accelerate that interoperability between the community college policy system and the Inland Empire is a sixth of California, right? Or maybe more. So that collective approach to it does hold some significant weight. And the other piece is on the culture, Virginia, around faculty expectations. A good company wouldn't put up with somebody who doesn't have an attitude or a sense of adoption of the culture. Understanding all of the constraints, the political and the employment labor issues, you still can put some marketing weight into the fact that the GIA is expecting X number more students to graduate high school with college credit because it's good for the student, the family, the economy, the workforce. So that bigger story marketing push, Jake, this is in your area, is really critical, right? That we speak that language to draw attention to and to create the culture of expectation that you don't have an option to not like teaching students, and you know what I mean?
Right. So I think the power of the advocacy work that GIA does for us is really in engaging those levers. And so Gil mentioned it, the state CCC Academic Senate, say the ACCCA. So that's the association of all the academic senates across the 72 districts. The state level Senate you ought to be engaged in this conversation. You know what I mean? Because I was thinking, and then Gil went ahead and mentioned it, that I understand why there is a qualification standard for discipline-specific teaching in history or biology or chemistry. I get that. You want a master's degree. But we've had opportunities where we had someone with a PhD in chemistry, but the master's is in something different. And the hoops they have to jump through is a little ridiculous. So those kind of changes culturally, like you said, or in terms of their expectations through the academic senate for the whole state, I think would be a good place to start to have these K-16 conversations again.
Yeah, something in the Coachella Valley that struck us when we started the work on career academies was President Ford. We're known as Rancho Mirage is the playground of presidents because they have homes or they retire here. President Gerald Ford once said that he was not qualified to teach government in our high schools. And I think that is a great marketing pitch to like hold our elected officials to something like that, to say, like, what's the current example of that? Like, are we really, can we get some common sense thinking into these things that really are holdups for the very basics that a student needs, and that you could do in a private school, that you can address in a private school? If we're really about equity, why aren't we getting at some common sense things? And that's political, it's advocacy, but I think it's also messaging.
I would also add to that, if you look at it and talking about that alignment piece now, as I say, kind of a coherence piece, because along with that, you've talked about the issues or the challenges that we have with staffing. Then you get into the language where I've worked nationally with different schools on dual enrollment, and each one has a different language and a different relationship with the community colleges and colleges that they work with. And you think about how much is a course worth? How do they get the right credit for it? Here you get a bump for GPA, here you don't get a bump for GPA. All those coherence pieces are really what make it so difficult and so challenging in trying to getting that language across. And this, I mean, being on the dual enrollment group, these are types of things that we've been talking about, but I think that's another key piece. But when you look at the pieces in places that have done it, a lot of those barriers have been removed. Like I worked in Tucson that's probably where I worked the closest with this. And it was the state paid for anyone who wanted to get their master's because they wanted to improve dual enrollment. And that was a big bump for them. The other piece is that the mindset of the ownership of a student and realizing that I'm teaching this student in high school, but this is going to be eventually my community college student. And if I can give something to the student, they're going to be more prepared, and really taking that mindset and having that attitude as an institution And that being taken on is another thing that I think bridges those gaps where it's the community student, not that's a high school student versus our student.
And Tim, and that was exactly the point I think that is so important, is that we're working from a bit of a attitude of scarcity versus an attitude or an understanding of abundance. That we've not bridged that symbiotic relationship. When 40% of our kids go to, of the 70 that go on to higher ed, as the PPIC, report was given out earlier this morning, says, they're going to the community college. We're, to a certain degree, we're producing plenty of pipeline for the community college. So I don't want to teach those kids and we don't want anybody else to teach those kids. That's just really not statistically viable as far as an argument.
What's really exciting to me as this conversation is going on right now, and as you look back at the summary document that GIA prepared about our tactical plan and what we're doing, it's all about mindset, but it was about mindset for the students and the families. I love this addition of mindset of the institutions and the faculty, because I think it really rounds it out. And Virginia, it gets back to that, your initial point about, what about that teacher preparation? So
I want to add another piece to this, is that as far as the mindset, when you start talking to students about their experience in school, and we start talking about, we're looking at a teacher shortage, we're looking at why can't we get people, why can't we get diversity in the teacher force? The foundational piece of it is your experience in the school system. So if I have this adverse experience where I'm being thrown upon teachers who don't necessarily want me in their classroom, that's where it begins. So I think that welcoming mindset also begins to plant the seeds of people who, and also seeing that we can get into the diversity aspect of it too, seeing yourself represented, then creates that space where we actually now begin to have people who are interested in getting into the teaching profession. So, I mean, I just think this is such a complex and so multi-layered, but there's so many pieces that are, they build off of each other, and it's so organic in a sense of where if you do the right thing and you get the right mindset, so many good things come from it, from another perspective.
Okay, that is like the perfect mic drop as we come up at the end of our session at 2:50, because for those of you that are brand new to this is the type of conversation and interaction that this team has every time we get together. So we've identified, just as you've seen in this short period of time, a way to really advance the work we've been doing when we come back together in October. And we'd sure love to welcome more of you to this team. So that I think was the intention of today. We've still got a minute or so. Are there any final comments? I would really encourage you to take a look at the things in the chat and check out those links and download. And Jake also put in that there are some great connections between the work this team is doing and the Equity Ant, and there's also Financial Aid Ant. So there are 5 Action Network teams, and many of the conversations are interconnected. So that's the power of GIA, is that collectively we have an opportunity to really deeply advance some of this work. Any final thoughts from anybody?
Yeah, I'd like to just add, I think along the lines of the mindset that you were talking about, especially the middle school students and the parents, I would further include the high school students, but in terms of understanding what is the California Assessment and Student Performance and Progress, what do those results say about where they might be at currently in their English or mathematics. I think having those conversations with both parents and the students more, not just leaving it up to the individual school sites, but extending that conversation more to kind of come to an understanding what this means, because ultimately that's just one factor, but it's a pretty key factor for being college ready. It really does provide us a good indicator. There's a lot more, obviously, the social emotional stuff and everything else, but I think having that conversation with the parent and especially the student, high school included, would be very significant.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so I hope we've whet everyone's appetite for what comes next. There's still a couple sessions this afternoon, but we'll be looking forward to you at the College and Career Readiness ANT's next meeting in October. And just a sort of a seed out there for all of our current members, we are looking for a couple of folks to co-chair this team. So if this has really inspired you and you'd love to step into that role, we'd sure love to have you. And lots of support in that. Not a tremendous amount of work, but we'd sure love your leadership.
And one quick point of process, because that's what Kim and I are always supposed to do, is this is a complex issue, but where your tactical plan, if you read through that, leads you, is you've honed in on 2 areas that you can start on, and the process leads you to impacting other areas that you discussed today. They're not lost, but they allow you to work together to get some success in one specific tactical area in this next 12 months. And then you can iterate on the other issues that arise that you've discussed, and or they'll be covered in another ANT.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. We'll see you at the next session, and hopefully see you in October.